Hey guys, what's up? It's Yana. Welcome to day 24 of Camp NaNoWriMo, July 2021. I've spent most of the day just watching the Olympics and also catching up on sleep because yesterday we had a ginormous orange moon. It was spectacular, but it also meant that I couldn't sleep at all. So I just pretty much crashed like in the early afternoon, which I always hate when this happens, because then when I wake up from however long a nap I've taken, then I just feel really loopy and like I've wasted half of my day, and it's just not the best feeling. I don't usually like sleeping during the day, however, that's just what happened. I needed to catch up on sleep, and now I'm actually about to go down to one of the beach bars with my friend and a few other friends, and we're just gonna go and listen to a jazz band. So it should be really fun. I'm hoping that I'm going to like wake up a little bit. I've had a glass of water with lemon and ice since I can't drink coffee, so hopefully that's gonna wake me up a little bit and I'm gonna get my energy back and I'll be able to do some writing later on. But for now I'm just gonna take you along with me so that you can listen to some jazz as well. Oh my gosh. Look at this moon. This doesn't look real, does it? Completely random fireworks. I have no clue why this is happening. So everyone, this is the Menthol Beach Bar, and we're listening to one of the jazz bands in Varna. These are actually people who, some of them often act in musicals in Varna as well. They're really, really cool. There's in Bulgarian this is called the Moon Path. I'm not sure if there's a name. There must be a name for it in English, but I just can't remember. But there's the Moon Path. So I'm sorry I'm so close to the camera. It's just because it's so loud here. I don't know if you can hear me even now. But I thought I'd chat to you about music and books and how one inspires the other. I am somebody who writes musicals and writes songs and writes music quite a lot, and usually I have this urge to turn everything into a musical. That's just any novel that I have, I could probably make a musical out of it. So music is a very big part of how I write, and I've written a lot of lyrics for songs and just things like this. So I think that music and writing can very easily go together, and I know that a lot of writers have playlists that they use while they're writing. Personally, I prefer to have quiet while I'm writing prose, but while I'm getting inspired and kind of trying to find the characters or find the plot. I find that music can be, I've said find too many times, but I think that music can be very inspiring for that.
Senoritas dancing and swinging, tapanera, cananero, it's very nice. So full of spice. And when the days they bring a happy ring that they'll get us singing a song all the day long. So if you like the beat, take a listen for Cuban beat. And I'll teach you the chicky chicky bum, chicky chicky bum, chicky chicky bum.
Okay, hi everyone. It's about 2:15 in the morning. I'm just back from the jazz concert night out on the town thing, and I've had an absolutely wonderful time. I don't think I'm drunk. I think I've been really actually drunk once in my life, but I'm definitely tipsy. So now the question is, can I have a semi-sensible conversation with you on 2 cocktails? But obviously I want to have a vlog. I don't want to miss a day. Well, not a vlog, a video, I guess. So we're gonna have a video. We're gonna talk about writing. I haven't really written anything today, but I have genuinely spent the last couple of days, even the last 3 days, trying to figure something out that I've been trying to figure out for years now. And that's the name of one specific character. It's the one that I mention quite a bit. It's the one that came into my head and demanded to be a main character, even though he was originally not there, and even when he was there, he wasn't meant to be a main character, but now he's my favorite character. And I've been trying to name him for a very, very long time, and I think that it's a very fitting time to do this because today's video has been kind of slightly about music. This is very tangentially related, but you know what? It's my video. I'm gonna say it's related, and you just have to, you just have to accept that. So tonight has been all about music, and that's why we're gonna talk about the character who is also related to music. So he's a fairy, and he's a bard. And what that means in my novel is that he has a very special, very powerful ability, even though he's still kind of developing it. He's not, he's not fully in control of it. But bards in my novel have the ability to kind of listen to people's brains or their souls or whatever you want to call it, and find a special melody that really resonates with you. And when they find that, if they manage to do it, it takes some time and effort, but if they manage to do that, that gives them the ability to almost mind control you. So basically the way this works is they listen to you, they listen to your brain, they listen to who you are, and to them that translates into a melody. And if they then play that melody back to you, because they also have magic, that makes you very very susceptible to what they want you to do, to suggestions, basically, because it's almost like hearing yourself back. It's almost like you're talking to yourself. So you hear this music, and it's not complete, it's not 100%. It affects some people more than others. It's kind of like, it's suggestion. It's not pure mind control, but it does make you very susceptible to this thing, where when you hear this music, and when they can manipulate the melody. It's almost like learning, I don't know, learning a language, but in music form. So they manipulate the melody to kind of make you do things, or push you very strongly towards doing something, and then you're likely to do it. But it's all done through music and through sound. So this is what my character is. He's a bard. He has this ability. He's a very he's on our side. He's a good guy, so he doesn't like using his ability for bad things, even though in the past he has been forced to do that by some bad characters. But I've been trying to come up with a name for this guy ever since he appeared. And I think because I like him so much, I really just don't want to get it wrong. I want it to be a very fitting name. And because he's a fairy, he should have a name. So the way that they name themselves, it's all things related to nature and plants that are around them, that exist in this geographical location. I know that's not very original. It doesn't have to be. So it makes sense for him to be named either after a plant or after something in the woods, something like that. And I've tried so many things and I haven't been able to figure it out, because the other caveat is that I really want there to be a nickname for him, because I'm very big on nicknames. I think it's because my name is quite short, and people usually just call me by my name, by my full name. They just call me Anna. It doesn't really have a common nickname that people use. There are a few, but they don't sound completely right. So I have this thing where I just really like it when the characters that I'm very fond of have nicknames, so that the people who love them can call them by a pet name, and they can show their affection in this way. So I really want him to have a pet name. So we're looking for a name that can be easily shortened. And then this is where we're running into a problem, because I mentioned in a previous video that originally the setting for this book was Scotland. It's not Scotland anymore, but I still wanted to have some elements of Scotland. So the kind of the plants that grow there are mostly just Scottish plants, plus some invented ones that don't really exist that I've added on there, and I guess I'll add some other vegetation if I need it for the story. But I basically went and looked for a lot of Scottish trees and grasses and plants that I felt were suitable to kind of relate to him, if that makes any sense. And I wrote down their names, and none of them have worked so far, or at least I haven't chosen one, because it's usually the problem is the pet name. So I've got a massive list of plants. What you're gonna do now is you're gonna help me choose this name if you have any suggestions, or otherwise by the end of this video I will try to decide what I'm actually going to call him, because it's getting a bit tiresome to think about this character and not really have a name for him. I use some of these names. I try to see if they work, and none of them completely work, or they're not set in stone yet. So here's the massive long list of plants that grow in Scotland that I've liked the look of, or kind of the symbolism of, or their, you know, in some way seem to fit his character. And it's a giant list, and some of them don't really work as names. So we've got alder, aspen, ash, hazel, rowan, willow. I can't use rowan because I've already used it in the surname of another character, of my main character. There's more than one main character, but I guess she's like the mainest of the main characters in some ways. But her surname is McRowan, so I can't really use rowan. We've got willow, that's kind of common. A lot of people use it, and I also have it in another book, not as a name but as a surname, so I don't want to use will, it's a little too common. Then we've got sycamore, doesn't really fit him. Hemlock, I've kind of marked as a possibility, but hemlock, if I remember correctly, is a poisonous plant, so it's not really fitting his character, and also hem doesn't seem like the kind of pet name that would fit him. We've got myrtle, we've got gorse, which is one of my favorite plants, but not a really good name. We've got heather, which I'm not opposed to my male character having a name with more feminine connotations, but in this case I don't feel like it really works. We've got dabberlock, if I'm reading that correctly, rack, moss. I did consider moss, it's kind of cute. Also, I really like mosses. Agrimony, corcoco, we're not choosing this one. Buggle, foxtail, that was one of the possibilities, but again, fox doesn't sound like the proper pet name. We've got marsh, that kind of works. Parsley, I actually really liked. I think it's because it's such a common domestic like herb that we use in cooking, but I kind of really like having parsley as a name. I think it's kind of funny, but also once you get used to the fact that this is a very interesting, occasionally heroic character, then you kind of start looking at the word in a different way. So I kind of like parsley. We've got bearberry, wormwood, mugwort, aster, marigolds, bindweed, harebell, sedge, fern, knapweed, mouse-ear, no, we're not calling him that, rosebay, cowbane, basil. I like basil. I really like basil, but basil, but it makes me think of the Portraits of Dorian Gray. Lily Valley, which is a beautiful name, but maybe genuinely for a girl. Foxglove, another fox there. Crowberry, Halborine, I don't even know how to read this. Cotton grass, spindle, eyebright. These are all kind of herbs or field flowers or something like that, because that I feel like that kind of fits with her personality, which is kind of unpretentious and sort of just sweet and nice. I really like wildflowers and herbs. Spindle, eyebright, meadowsweet. Again, I think that's a beautiful name for a girl. I wrote all of these down, but I don't think I considered all of them for him. Meadowsweet is so nice. I really want to call a character Meadowsweet. Woodruff. Woodruff is kind of cute, but it sounds a little bit kind of slightly pretentious. I think I could have a very cool character, but a little bit of a bit more of a like a posh character called Woodruff. Bog, ivy, barley. Barley's cute, but again, not really many nicknames for it. Holly, iris, rush. I did consider rush, but again, it's just, I guess it's a pet name by itself. Nettle is his mother's name.
this was one on my list, and I used it for this character's mother, who is also a minor character and shows up a little bit. Oh gosh, no, I've just given you a spoiler. You're probably not gonna read this book and nobody cares. Yeah, his mom is named Nettle. Honeysuckle, again, doesn't really work. Mayweed. Malik was a possibility, but I've seen Mel too often. Asphodel is actually a name that I really like for him, but again, it doesn't have a nickname. I'm not calling him Ass. There's actually a few of them. Aspen as well. Aspen and Asphodel fit him, but what the heck do you call him if you want to be like affectionate? You're not calling him Ass. That just doesn't work. Yeah, you could call him again. I guess you could call him Pen or Del, but I'm not a huge. I think some names, it doesn't sound right. Some names, like for example, like the singer that we were listening to tonight, her full name is Antonella, and I feel like Nella is a very fitting nickname for that. But I think that's because the stress is on the Nella anyway, and when the stress is not on the last syllable, I feel like there's something wrong with using that as a nickname. I don't know, that's just weird. My head is weird sometimes. So we've got Asphodel, Restoro, I don't know how to read this. Sorrow, again, no nickname. Poppy, doesn't work. Redshank, Themati is just too, it's a name, like it doesn't work. Reed, Pondweed, Primrose. Okay, so actually, funny thing, the previous name for my main character, like the main girl, there's lots of main characters, but the main girl in this novel, her previous name was the Bulgarian word for primrose, which is Iglika, or the kind of more archaic one, or the more, I don't get the local dialect one, I don't know, is, you can also call it, you can also use the word Aglika with an A. So her name was Aglika, which is slightly more old-fashioned than Iglika, which is still used now as a name. So her name was basically Primrose, but just a Bulgarian word for it. So I'm obviously not using that. Her name was Primrose or Aglika for quite a long time, but I've changed it now because the character has changed. I think of those two characters as kind of almost separate people. Like the character in the old version of the novel was a different person, and now the new one is just... She's different. I've got a handle on this one, on the new one. I don't know why I'm pointing to my hand. I've got a handle on the new one. The old one, I love her, but she never quite worked. But anyway, I'm not calling this character Primrose. Then we've got Cherry, again, I'm not calling him Cherry, Buttercup. Bramble was his name for the longest time. Bramble, naming him Bram was what I've been kind of using in my head. But I just feel like I can do better. I don't know, it doesn't quite work. Dewberry, Tasselweed, Pearlworth, Clary, Stonecrop, Hedge. Hedge is kind of cool. Dandelion, I love dandelions. They're among my favorite flowers. But then I'd have to just call him Dan, which doesn't suit him at all. Deergrass, I've used that for the surname of a pair of my characters. Then we've got Clover, Elm. Elm is, again, I think a cool name, but doesn't fit him. Valerian, Violet, Pansy, and Hugh. Some of these are really more suitable for girls' names, or something a bit more non-binary, I guess. And I really don't know. So his previous name, I called him Bramble Crowberry, which is a whole lot of plants in the name. But I just feel like it doesn't quite fit. The ones that I've kind of marked as possibilities are Aspen, Asphodel. I already mentioned what the problem with those are. Bramble, foxglove, crowberry, hemlock, and parsley and rush. Excuse me. And I really don't know which one of these. I want to gravitate towards aspen and asphodel because I feel like there's something noble about those names, but no nickname is the downside. And then things like parsley and bramble have more natural, kind of more casual nicknames, but the full name doesn't seem to fully fit his character. So, oh gosh, what am I gonna do? I don't know. Anyway, I've been reading you plant names for quite a while now, so I guess the only thing left is for me to just kind of ask you for your opinion. Do you have any suggestions for names for these characters? His description is basically he's a fairy bard who has been through some bad stuff, and has been made to do some bad things, but he's very kind-hearted, he's quite patient, he's very charming and fun and kind of optimistic. He's very, very sweet. I'm extremely fond of him. And he's very boyish and carefree when he can be, but he can also be very noble and heroic when the time comes to do that sort of thing. So this is the kind of character we're talking about, and he is in love with another character who is a little rougher around the edges. Ultimately a good person, but that's not immediately obvious, I guess. So he's sort of an anti-hero, and a lot harsher. I don't know if that helps in any way. Yeah. So yeah, this is kind of like my selection of names. I can't promise that I'll listen to your advice. I'm just gonna follow my heart on this and do some more thinking. I need to name this character. It's been forever. It's been years and he still doesn't have a name. But if you do have any suggestions for what to name him, either your preferred one out of the millions of herbs and plants that I just read, or another name that you feel like it would fit him, then please let me know. Gosh, I've been talking forever. This is all from me for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!